Have you ever told yourself, I'm just waiting on God? But deep down, if you're honest, you're not waiting on God. You're waiting to feel safe. You're waiting for all the fear to leave. You're waiting for total clarity. You're waiting for everyone to support you. You're waiting for the perfect sign, the perfect timing, the perfect confirmation, the perfect peace, the perfect mood. And while you're waiting for all of that, your life is still standing still. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So don't you scroll, you stick around. Because a lot of Christians say they trust God, but what they really trust is certainty. I want to be certain. And faith does not grow in certainty. Faith grows in obedience. Some of you are not stuck because God forgot about you. You're stuck because fear has dressed itself like wisdom. And you know where fear comes from. You called it from the enemy. And fear sounds so spiritual sometimes. Fear says, let me think about it a little more. Fear says, I want to be careful. Fear says, I'm praying about it. When you already prayed about it 10 times. Fear says, I need one more confirmation. Fear says, I'll move when I feel peace. But let me tell you something important. Sometimes peace does not come before the step. You heard that. Sometimes peace comes after obedience. That part right there is hard because most of us want God to make us comfortable. Oh Lord, make me comfortable before I move. But if you read scripture, God often gives direction without giving all the detail. He told Abraham to go. He did not hand him a 5-year blueprint. He told Peter to come. He did not explain the waves. He told Moses to speak. He did not first move his insecurities. And that is where many people are losing time. Not because they're lazy, not because they do not love God, but because they have confused hesitation with discernment. Let's make this plan. There's a difference between being prayerful and being passive. There's a difference between waiting on God and delaying it because you're scared of what might happen if you obey. Some of you know exactly what God already has been pressing on your heart to do. Have the hard conversation. Apply for the position. Start the business. Finish the book. Set boundaries. Leave unhealthy cycles. Stop begging to be chosen by people who keep showing you that they don't value you. Stop shrinking in rooms where God told you to stand. But because you do not feel fully safe, you keep postponing what God already made clear. And I say this with love. Delayed obedience still costs something. It costs confidence. It costs momentum. It costs peace. It will cost you time. And it will cost you opportunities that require movement. Get to moving. Start moving today. Don't you scroll. Stop. Stick around. Now, let me be clear. I'm not telling you to be reckless. I am not telling you to ignore wisdom. I am not telling you to move in pride and be prideful. I'm telling you to be wise from wisdom from heaven, not because you're using wisdom as that scapegoat to lie to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Look, I'm so tired of people doing this. I hear this all the time. I'm just waiting on God. Stop with your lies. Stop. Let me tell you, this is hard truth. I'm saying this. I'm saying this, I'm so sick and tired of hearing this. Do not keep blaming God for the delay. That is really your fear. That's the hard truth, but it's freeing truth too. Because once you realize the problem is not always divine silence, you finally confront what is really going on in your heart. Maybe it's fear of failure. Maybe it's fear of embarrassment. Maybe it's fear that if you move and it does not work out, people will talk. Let them talk. Maybe it's fear that you're too old, too late, too behind, too overlooked. Maybe it is fear that if you really obeyed God, your comfortable life will change. But let me encourage you. You do not need to feel fearless to obey. You need to trust God enough to move while your knees are shaking. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is movement in spite of fear. And some of you have been asking God for another sign. While God is looking at you like, I already told you enough to take the next step. Not the whole staircase, the next step. That is how God often works. He gives daily bread, not a 10-year warehouse. He gives light for the path, not a stadium spotlight for the whole future. So what do you do when you realize you are not really waiting on God? You are waiting to feel safe. First, tell yourself the truth. Stop using spiritual language to cover emotional avoidance. Say it plainly. I am afraid. That is more honest than saying, I'm still discerning, when what you really mean is, I don't want to risk disappointment. Second, go back to what God already showed you. Not every season needs a new word. Some seasons need obedience to the last word. What has God already been dealing with you about? What conversation have you delayed? What boundaries have you avoided? Third, stop waiting on unanimous support. You will never get that. You will always get someone that has something negative. Should you do that? Can you do that? Are you the right person? Yes. Yes. And yes, you are. God chose you. Everyone is not on your side. Everyone is not going to understand your obedience. Everyone is not going to clap for your calling. Everyone is not going to see what God showed you. Some people only believe after the outcome looks successful. That's not faith. So stop making other people's comfort the confirmation for your assignment. And fourth, one concrete step, not 15. One, send the email, write the outline, make the appointment, update your resume, have the conversation, submit the application, start the plan, turn off the overthinking, and do the next right thing. Because movement breaks the power of fear. And let me say this to the person who feels behind. You're not too old. You're not disqualified. You're not washed up, and you're not finished. But you do need to stop treating fear like your spiritual advisor. That part has to go, because the longer you wait to feel perfectly safe, the longer you delay the very growth that only obedience can produce. Sometimes the breakthrough is not on the other side of more thinking. Sometimes it's on the other side of that one brave decision. Choose to be brave today. So no, this is not about rushing. This is about honesty. Maybe God is not ignoring you. Maybe God is waiting on you. Will you trust God more than the need to feel safe? That is the question. Because safe is not always obedience. Obedience is not always comfortable, but obedience is where strength grows. Obedience is where confidence grows. Obedience is where clarity grows. And obedience is where a lot of you are going to finally get your peace back. Get your peace back. So today, stop saying, I'm waiting on God, if you already know He told you what to do. Tell the truth. Face the fear. Take the step and trust that the same God who called you to move is the same God who will meet you in motion. If this spoke to you, put in the comments, I will be obedient and I feel safe. And if you know this is your year, this is the year, and you know that this is the season to stop delaying what God already made clear. Stay close, because we are not just talking about faith that sounds good. We're talking about faith with actual moves. So what are you doing today? Remember, I have useful tools below. Go check them out and make sure you put in the comments, I feel safe and I'm moving forward. And as always, remember, guys, we are blessed by the best. And I will see you in my next one. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Be blessed.